From November 14th to 21st, we're inviting you to join us for a powerful trip to Ghana. This isn't just a vacation. This is a chance to walk through the same places where many of our people were captured, held, and shipped off into slavery. So don't wait. Secure your spot today. We're making history by walking through it. Will you be with us?
Introducing the African Diaspora News Channel app, your gateway to stories that's overlooked by the corporate mainstream media.
At African Diaspora News Channel, we cover stories that don't receive mainstream attention, and we serve as the voice to the global Black community. We are committed to informing and educating through the power of media, connecting the African diaspora one story at a time.
With our platform, we're helping to end injustice by exposing it.
Join us in standing for excellence in journalism and serving our community. Download the African Diaspora News app today.
Peace, family. My name is VIcki Dillard for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. As you come in, beloved, be sure to come in giving us a big thumbs up, and share the broadcast. That way other folks will know that we're here. And for that, we say thank you so very much. Family, family, family. Now, there is no way in the world, at least a good portion of you have not heard about LA on fire. Now, let me tell you all something. You all know, yes, indeed, I am a foundational Black American. My ancestors are responsible for the creation and the building of these United States of America. So I certainly put the interest of my people first as priority, no question about it. But I also recognize that I'm also a woman of the world, and I take that role very seriously, which is why I am connected both on a national and international level. But I have to get you all to understand something. There are many moving parts, many moving agendas to the ICE raids that's taking place throughout the United States, and right now, most especially in California. Yes, but I want to narrow, pay attention, because there are some people that sits way back in the back of the bus. Some of y'all are up there in the stadium, in the nosebleed seats. And when we're talking about certain issues, you can't focus and you're not able to separate different interests. And then when I'm talking about one thing, trying to put an emphasis on one thing, you'll jump to something else. So focus today. Now, there are very nefarious motives behind why Donald Trump, the Conservative Party, the Republican Party are doing what they're doing. Yes, I'm going to get into some of that later. But today, I want to make this emphasis. I want to focus on this. Now, if you're a righteous person in your right mind, you should be able to understand what I'm getting ready to say. Now, I want to emphasize that what's happening with the migrants in this country have to do with an element of those that violated the law to get here. And if in your mind, you can say, but it wasn't that bad, but they paying taxes, but they have families, but they've been there so long. The crime they committed was so long ago. The crime they committed is not as bad as some crimes. Then I'm saying to you, why didn't you have that same argument, that same solidarity with foundational Black Americans when we told y'all they created laws, drugs, rules, regulations, and crimes? I said that right. I said they created crimes. The government on a national, state, and local level to intentionally entrap us, destroy our families in the past and present, and they intend to do it in the future. I'm saying to you, if you can understand, or if you can reason in your own mind that what they did is not that bad, then I'm trying to see, where were you when we've been crying and screaming and hollering? And why is it that you should be able to butt in the line today? Why do you get to be the priority in this? Why do we get to say your families are being separated? This is a travesty. But nothing substantively like that. We didn't get this same kind of energy. This is the issue I want to focus on today. Are you listening? One other thing I want to say before I get ready to show you this clip. The first thing I want to do, if the team can get ready to prepare to put up Representative Isaac G. Bryan's X post. I want y'all to get ready to watch. I want y'all to look, see if we can see this. I want y'all to watch y'all's LA assemblyman. He's a lawmaker out there in California. I'm going to tell you why I'm bringing him up now. Some of y'all remember. If you've been paying attention to what we've been covering over the past couple of years here on African Diaspora News Channel, you'll know where I'm going with this. Isaac G. Bryan. Who in the world is he, family? Isaac G. Bryan is a California lawmaker, yes? He's a California assemblyman. Let me see. Do we have that up? Let me see. I can't tell here. Talk black to me, somebody. And by the way, everybody, as you come in, be sure to give us a big thumbs up, and share the broadcast, okay? We ask that you do that so that others will receive notification, yes? All right. We're going to play this clip. Okay, we're going to play this clip first, and I want y'all to watch this, and I'm going to explain what's going on here in just a moment, okay? Thumbs up, thumbs up.
Tell them the prayer, but they already know the assignment. Repeat after me. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the hill or still waters. He restored my
Okay. What you just saw there, family, was not a revival at a Baptist church down south, baby. It was not at a Methodist church. It was not in a Christian church, baby. What you just saw there was an actual Twitter X post from California Assemblyman Isaac G. Bryan. Now, he's got a big old picture right next to that video that he posted. This is nobody else. This is his official X page. And at the headline, he puts up there, solidarity in action. I don't know if y'all can see that picture. He's standing there with that footage that you just saw where they're singing, when they're saying, rather, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures, leads me beside the still waters, restores my soul, leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Vicki, why you doing this? Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear. That clip that he posted, right next to that, he posted a picture. I don't know if you all can see it on your screen, where he's standing there with a large number of Latino folks. And at the headline there, he puts solidarity in action. Well, Vicki, what's the big deal about this LA Isaac G. Bryan that's out there on the fight, on the front line, screaming and hollering, particularly with the Latino community against ICE raids, where ICE is cracking down on illegal immigration, people that committed crimes that came here to this country, notwithstanding the other multiple motives. I'm going to get into that later. Remember, I said today's broadcast, I'm narrowing today's broadcast. I'm going to get into the other shady stuff and reason why Trump and some of the others are doing this. But let's focus now. VIcki, why talk about him? Okay. Team, can we put up the article from Cal Matters, please? Are y'all ready? How many of y'all remember this fella, Mr. Isaac Bryant? Can we put up that article? The next article. Y'all ready for this? This next article that we're getting ready to pull up from Cal Matters. Awesome. It's up. Look at the headline, family. What does that headline say? Quote, he played them. How a GOP reparations bill splintered supporters of California's Black Caucus. I'm going somewhere with it. Let me read just a little bit of this article, would you? Just hang out with me. Y'all see that headline there? It's talking about the fact that it says, at a time when the political climate calls for strong and steady leadership, many Black Californians are losing faith in the lawmakers they sent to Sacramento to deliver a justice agenda anchored by reparations. Y'all listen. It has enabled one of the capital's chief disruptors, a conservative firebrand, to seize an opportunity to highlight the Democratic Party's hypocrisy. That ain't no mishap. That ain't no mistype right there. Y'all hear what you see what the writer said? It enabled a conservative firebrand to seize an opportunity to highlight what? The Democrat Party's hypocrisy by championing a reparations bill that competes with a similar measure put out by the California Legislative Black Caucus. Now, that's some lies right there, but we're going to leave that alone. The part that's true is the hypocrisy of the Democrats being against reparations. Are y'all listening? As one of the state's preeminent reparations groups has made the eye-opening decision to back this version of reparations legislation rather than the Black Caucus's proposal, deeming the Republican lawmaker, Assembly member Bill Asalee from Corona more trustworthy. At least until this week. On Tuesday, Asalee resigned from his assembly seat to become a federal prosecutor for the Trump administration. Now leading reparations advocates look like they got played. The rift within the economic justice movement grew deeper, and the future of Asalee's legislation is up in the air. Supporters of his bill have already been making Zoom calls to lawmakers hoping to find a new sponsor. If they fail, it says that the measure dies. Y'all keep listening. Either way, the rancor between the Black Caucus and some of the most vocal constituents remains. Quote, who's this next quote from, family? Listen, it says, it breaks my heart, lamented Assembly member Isaac Bryant. That funny looking, black looking man that we showed you on the front line with the Latino community fighting unlawful immigrants in the country. He's standing strong with the Latino community. He says, it breaks my heart. A Democrat from Culver City. I'm not sure how you pick up the pieces and repair the relationship. This has done tremendous damage. People on both sides are throwing shade. I can't say I blame them. I'm gonna skip down. It says some spurring supporters say that they expect to be insulted and disappointed again this year. It's hard to trust in the process or even the caucus when you can tell who is being serious about reparations and who doesn't mind failing so long as they claim they tried. Recently, Black Caucus leaders predicted in interviews with Cal Matters that their so-called road to repair package of 16 priority proposals would win lawmakers and the governor's approval and ultimately help right this decades of racial wrongs. It's quoting some of the other lawmakers here, family. But the reason why I read this part is because I wanted to quote Isaac G. Bryan and remind you that this point of this article and them talking about that Republican, Bill Asalee, he was the one that exposed the Democrat lawmakers in California. What do you mean, VIcki? If you were keeping up with our coverage all last year, you would know this. The Black Caucus in California are the ones that sabotaged the reparations bill. They refused. They were getting toward the end of the last process to bring it to the floor so that we could officially get it, to bring it to the floor so it could officially be voted on. The Democrats, some of the Democrats whose name was on the bill, refused to even bring it to the floor toward the final part for voting. Then some of y'all probably forgot my coverage on the fact that the governor of California, a white liberal, Gavin Newsom, some of the Black caucus members, I'm bringing y'all up to speed, so in case you don't know the behind the scenes. Gavin Newsom, a white liberal Democrat, was said to have threatened Black caucus members that if they voted for the reparations bill right before the presidential election last year, he threatened them. So the Black lawmakers claimed that they were scared. How many of y'all remember that coverage? Now, how many of y'all remember VIcki Dillard did another broadcast with one of the leading reparations organizers on the ground in California? He exposed them in an interview. How many of y'all remember that? Where he said that it was the Black caucus members, some of them, Black legislators in California, that wrote a letter to Gavin Newsom asking that some of the previous year's reparations allotment funds go to some of their handpicked folks. So money that was supposed to go to reparations, setting up the reparations organizations and all the things related to that, they wanted their buddies to get some of their money, and they continued to slow walk it. So to the public, the Black California lawmakers told us that this white governor was threatening them, but they behind the scenes secretly kept the fact that they were playing this game with him, and they were secretly asking him in a letter to let some of their buddies get some of the money, people that control certain organizations and groups. This is the betrayal and the backstabbing of your Black Democrats. Mr. Isaac G. Bryan was one of the ones that you saw on some of the footage and the photos with his hands crossed, mad that that white Republican that I just mentioned in the article, Bill O'Saley, who's now going to DC to work for Trump, he wasn't even for reparations, but he was exposing the Democrats about him at least being willing to bring it to the floor. So when you saw the Black caucus members with their hands crossed and pissed off, guess who was one of the main ones that was in that photo picture? They're doing that. Mr. Isaac G. Bryan, the one that's out there on the front lines for Latino communities, fighting for people that violate the law to get here. He's willing to put a lot of energy. He's willing to put his reparations, his time, and his reputation, and his life and his energy on the line for people that are not citizens of this country. But he don't have that same energy to fight for reparations. Do you guys see the problem here? All of a sudden, everybody has woken up to a white supremacist agenda. When we kept saying that was the case, nobody moved like this. We don't have stories of long-term Congress folks busting in on congressional meetings saying, come arrest me for reparations. But we have a lot of different stories all over the country, peppered throughout the country, where y'all are demanding that law enforcement come arrest you because you're going to stand on the front line for people that are not citizens of this country, people that were not strung up on trees, people who were not violated, people who weren't set on fire. And then you Negroes will quote Dr. King and say, Dr. King said, a threat to injustice anywhere is a threat to injustice everywhere. And how many of you all know that's exactly right? You all know that because VIcki Dillard, I rock with international community. I do plenty of coverage and I stand with my brothers and sisters around the world. But I know how to put emphasis on the right thing. And I know how to call out all the different elements of what's going on. And right now, I'm talking about the hypocrisy of you all diabolical mistreatment of my people. And how dare you prioritize yourselves over us? How dare you do that? How dare you Negroes, you boulets, be willing to spend your time, your energy, and your reputation. And some of you all, your freedom, you said, to be locked up for them. But we have not seen that same energy for us. It makes some of us angry, and I'm not going to lie. It makes some of my people sad and emotional. And you cannot justify that. Don't talk to me about Trump's diabolical reason why he's really doing it. Don't talk to me about the elites. I'm going to get into that later. And I've already discussed different elements of that over the past couple of years. And I acknowledge that there's a problem with that, which is why I'm going to continue to talk about those elements. But baby, this is a problem too. And we're not going to allow you to skip past it. Why did I quote Dr. King a minute ago? If you really believe that a threat to injustice anywhere is a threat to injustice everywhere, then that means you're not going to wait till an injustice happen to somebody in another country and not seriously take the domestic injustices that we've been dealing with. I'm going to reverse you using that quote. You want to use it to talk about international injustices. And in this instance, I'm going to say that because you have refused to do right by foundational Black Americans. How many of you all know I teach spiritual courses? I have a spiritual school called VIcki Dillard Ministry School. Go to my website at VickiPlanet.com to learn more about that. I not only have a monthly school that I do every month, but I also do special spiritual courses. One of the things that I know about divine spiritual law, no matter what your religion is, how many of you all know that maybe this is happening to them folks out there because of the disrespect of you spitting in our face and sabotaging reparations again and again and again? How many of you all know that the ancestors and that the divine operates differently? How many of you all know that you will suffer major repercussions if you disrespect this? How do you know that the divine is not involved in this, causing you to be affected in this way because you refuse to give attention and justice to us? Baby, that's how I'm going to turn it on you. When I went through an injustice with the law, nobody cared about the fact that my senior citizen mother, I was going to be separated from my mother. Nobody cared about the facts that I was mistreated and the facts that was on the case that were being ignored. Nobody cared about the fact that I was taken from city to city in the different states. Nobody cared about the recordings and the documents and the evidence. Nobody cared about my pristine record in this country and the goodwill that I did for people and the lies that were told. Nobody stood with me like that. How dare you? How dare you? I said, how dare you? I don't endorse the quote unquote elites agenda on this. But there is a spiritual and a metaphysical issue that's at work. And that's what I want you to talk about right now. I'll get to that other stuff in a minute. But right now, I ain't going to let you change the subject. One last thing here in case you think I'm making this up. Can the team get this clip ready? It's a very short clip. Can we get this clip ready of California Assemblyman Isaac Bryan, this traitor, this man who I'm calling a traitor, who was on radio show. I've done broadcasts on her show. This is technically, to be honest, it's Tavis Smiley's new radio show out there in California, KBLA 1580. He was on there sometime last year, right? I think it was September last year, right? Here's a clip of him being on this radio show, half-heartedly acknowledging the fact of his sabotage for reparations and him being asked, does he regret, or basically does he apologize? He didn't really give no real strong apology, but basically he admits that he stood in the way of it. I want y'all to watch this clip. Do we have it ready, team?
And the second I got back, I reminded folks and people who have propagated that video absent context, that's unfortunate. It's incredibly unfortunate, because if you know even the most basic of floor rules and floor procedures in Sacramento, you know that physically blocking somebody is not even a possible thing. So I feel bad for people who I've respected, like the Mark Lamont Hills and others, who continue to amplify a narrative that he created that has no basis in what was actually happening.
You think it was a mistake to not pass the bill at this point? Bills, two of them.
Personally, I do, and I let that be known. But I also think that this is an incredible Black caucus. There are incredible members of this caucus, some who are the first Black representative ever from their area, right? Who are not just moving conversations, but to even talk about reparations. And there are parts of my own, because I understand the frustration, the hurt, and I'm sorry for that for folks. I really am, because I understand.
Is that an apology?
It's an apology from me, but not because, some Republican is acting like I blocked him, which is not true at all.
No,
It's
I mean,
an
right now,
apology.
yeah,
It's an apology for me because I know the feelings. I feel the feelings, and it's frustrating sometimes to be.
You hear this, Negro? Did you hear that, Negro? So she said, well, is that an apology? Well, for me, but he jumps back to the Republican and how the Republican that brought the reparations bill to the floor after the black legislators betrayed their black supporters. You wouldn't even be talking about that Republican if the Democrats did what they were supposed to do. But never mind that. He says the fact that they even talking about reparations, he wants Negroes to be happy that they talking about it. He wants a BET award because at least we're talking about it. When the illegals came to this country, they gave them money, jobs, clearing their records, housing, food stamps. But to give us substance, to give us tangibles, you want us to just be grateful that you're talking about it. No, it's a new day. And Black folks are letting the whole thing crash because you all are doubling down, tripling down, and quadrupling down on your anti-Blackness. And the only way we know you're serious is not because you're talking. It's because you're willing to do for us. It's when you show that you're willing to do for us that which you've done for strangers, for people that violate the law. So this is not the day and the time for you to come on today's broadcast and say, Vicki, what about this agenda over here, baby? I'm the last one you can say that don't give everybody that work. But I'm not going to let you excuse this. No, you don't get to jump to say, well, the elite. No, you get to stay right here. You get to listen to this. Perhaps if you did right by Black Americans, dealing with the spirit of injustice related to us, don't you know that when you do spiritually right by us, that means that it's less likely that other groups would be mistreated? If that's how you perceive what's going on? Don't you know, what if you had done right by us, prioritize us? Do you know that some of the stuff that you call an injustice now, that's unchecked in other areas right now, maybe that would have been brought, quote unquote, to heel if you had ensured that it was done right by us. But when you leave injustice, real injustice, unchecked, you cannot expect for us to welcome us not being prioritized in the country we built. No, baby. I've given this analogy many times and I'm getting ready to go. If you're sitting in an emergency room and somebody is coming in and they're having a heart attack, and let's just say you've been sitting in the emergency room for a couple of hours because you broke a nail. You broke a nail. This other person had a heart attack. We're not going to see your broke nail, baby. You ain't the priority. Similarly, the latest injustices over the past few decades, in the last few years, and the last few months that y'all say is an injustice, in the last few weeks, that does not compare to the heart attack of my people. Did you get that analogy? So your little broke nail, you having little sniffles, you don't get to get priority right there. You see that? Something is wrong with an emergency room that will prioritize somebody with some sniffles and somebody that broke a nail over somebody that just had a heart attack. So you better go sit your funny looking self down in the lobby, get you some Cheetos. Somebody put some chips in the chat. Get you something to drink. Get you some bubble gum, baby. And go sit over in the corner till we get to you. But for now, we fixing to see people that have the more serious issues. And in this analogy and in this issue, that's us. Now you can get on board with that. And then after we're healed, after we're made whole, after we're prioritized, maybe just maybe, we'll have a little time for you. My name is VIcki Dillard, beloved. Be sure to check out my website at VickiPlanet.com. Don't forget, I'm typically here Tuesday through Thursday, live 2 p.m. Eastern. I also, in addition to that, do live commentary. Brother Phil should be live tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. You don't want to miss it. I can't wait to see you again.